Hey, it's Nuri, your host of Black and Forth. I'm so excited to be here with our special guest for the evening. Her reputation precedes her. She is a casting director. She is a director, a producer. She is award-winning. She's worked on some of your favorite shows. I'm sure we'll get into that here shortly. But Black and Forth is being brought to you by Digital Dash PR and The Wave USA. And again, we have a special guest, Rhavynn Drummer. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am excited. Just to talk a little bit about your background, you're an adjunct professor for Clark Atlanta University.
Yeah.
You are award-winning. The awards go on from the Black Film Festival to the Women Film Festival. You were out here making it happen with these web series. So just congratulations to you and all of your success.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I just want to kind of take this moment to just appreciate you, like, in all that you're doing, the work that you're doing. You're putting out beautiful and wonderful content that people can relate to, that people are excited about. So to be in a creative space and then to also, again, win awards and be embraced in that space, it's just a whole different ball game. So you are out here making it happen. So thank you for taking the time to join us tonight on the show.
That really does mean a lot, and I really do appreciate you saying that. So thank you for sure.
Yeah, girl, I'm here to, really kind of bask in your glory of all that you've been doing. So, one of the titles that you hold is the casting director at Tyler Perry Studios. Talk to us more about that role, and how did you even come into that role?
Yeah, so literally I graduated, I went to the University of Virginia. I graduated in 2007, and 2 weeks after graduation, I started interning at Tyler Perry Studios. So packed up everything and basically went from Virginia to Atlanta. But yeah, so I've been there for 13 years. I went from intern to production assistant to casting assistant, and now to casting director. And it's been a wonderful ride. I cast all the projects, from the television shows, the plays, the films. It's exciting, it's new, it's different every day, so it's been wonderful. Yeah.
Wow. What does a normal day in the life of a casting director look like? Like, how does your day fill up?
In this COVID landscape, it's very different. But I would say pre-COVID, it was a lot of, casting is like, it's art. There's an artistic part of it, and there's also an administrative part of it. Okay. So the artistic part is reading scripts, is watching auditions, either watching them live or watching them, taped auditions. It's meeting with producers to make sure that we're on the same page creatively with what they're looking for when it comes to the cast. It's going to set and watching the actors that you've cast on set. It's, negotiating deals and booking actors and checking availabilities as well. So it's definitely very varied. Essentially, I am the human resources of talent when it comes to working with Tyler Perry Studios, when it comes to working in casting. So in COVID, I would say it's just a little different in terms of course, we don't have the human interaction. So all of my auditions, right, we used to have some, in-person auditions. All of them are now via some sort of taping device. So that's really the biggest difference for us. And that, of course, we're working from home and we can't go to set. But other than that, it's been a lot of still fielding calls and negotiatings and things like that. So, yeah.
So, being that we are now in this space where you are having to, deal with auditions and watch pre-recorded auditions and not have that human interaction, has that made the job more difficult, or have you found yourself like more zeroed in and like, okay, let me see if I can get what I need from this video audition without having like the actor to re-rehearse something or redo something right there in front of you? How has that been?
I feel like, for me, I enjoy working from home. Like the freedom of being able to design my day is kind of nice. The freedom of like, oh, okay, like I don't have to like jump into the casting work right this minute. So that's nice. I will say that for actors, I think the task is a little bit more difficult for them
Mm-hmm.
in terms of, you know, before I would have meetings and all this stuff, and I would maybe watch 2 or 3 roles a day. You know, now I'm watching more, and you really do have to captivate me, to like grab me in those first couple of moments. When it comes to auditioning, you know, like what's going to make me want to watch this to the end? And it really is your performance choices. So I do miss being around like my colleagues. I loved going to set and watching the actors that we've cast on set. Like those are the things that I miss the most. But I do feel like in terms of the day, like in terms of actually watching the auditions, I just feel like we have so much more to watch now. So I'm like, actors, we really have to be on it, you know, now. So yeah.
So what are the requirements to like break into this industry as a casting director?
That's a great question. The thing about it is like, there's no major, you know, that you can major into work in casting. There's no like, okay, this is what you do. You don't go to any classes. And actually, my former boss, Alpha Tyler, is teaching, I think, the only class about casting at the Savannah College of Art and Design. And like, and it's so needed. It's like, nobody tells you like, how do you get into this? But I think in terms of like what's needed to get into casting is you have to be able to recognize what a good performance looks like. And I had my another boss of mine, Rhavynn Cannon, he would say like, he would give himself homework of like watching a certain amount of television, watching a movie and a play to know what actors are out there, to also get into the habit of really studying what good performance looks like. So in my opinion, if you want to be in casting, take an acting class, like learn how to talk to actors. You have to have the mind of a producer and also the mind of a director. The mind of a director to be able to know how to speak to actors, to get them to give you the performance that you need, to know what's missing, but also on the producer end to know like, you know, okay, like this is what's needed from SAG, and this is how much they're going to negotiate, and this is what we have to schedule them, and this is what they just did. So it's definitely a balance between the two.
Oh, wow. When you start getting into the details of it, like the administrative side that you were just talking about, that is no joke. With
it's
the
a
work
lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It sounds like it's more than, you know, plucking someone and saying, yeah, you're gonna do this role. But then when you start getting into the fine print, it's like, let's make sure you can do this role. Which is good, which is really good. So, I mean, you talked about kind of what you look for, a really good performance. Talk to me about, you know, if someone is interested in, you know, one day being in front of you, what are some do's and don'ts that you've kind of encountered as far as casting?
They're endless. But I think like some do's and don'ts is that a lot of actors, you know, a lot of actors don't come into the room presenting themselves as artists. They come into the room like very much afraid, very much scared, very much nervous. Yes, and I get it. The whole audition process, it's hard. But as a casting director, all I have is the audition. And so I don't make the final choice. So the people who do make the final choice, they don't see the conversation that we had. They don't see the backstory. They don't see that we did it a couple times. Like they only see the 2-minute clip that I sent them of your chest up, whatever it is. So a lot of times it's like, I feel like there's a beautiful coach who said like, I feel you trying to act through your nerves. And sometimes from a casting point, it feels like we're trying to cast through your nerves. You know, like I'm trying to see what you are capable of doing in the midst of all this other stuff that's in the way. I think that if actors had an opportunity to actually be in the room, they would kind of see more of those do's and don'ts. So some of my biggest, like, you know, is like, I always have actors who will say, like, is that what you wanted? Like, they'll do an audition. Is that what you wanted? Is that what you wanted? I'm like, stop trying to think about what I want. Like, I want you to give me what you want me to see. Like, I want to see the work that you've put in it. I want to see your artistry. I love it when somebody brings up a role or does something. I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that layer that's in there. So like that's definitely one of my, you know, I guess you can call it pet peeves. But I think just in general, you know, preparation is always going to be a massive thing when it comes to this industry. So you have to over prepare. You know, like casting directors won't want to have excuses about like, I didn't have this, I couldn't find the sides, whatever it is. Like you have to make sure that you're on point. You know, if it was something in person, like making sure like you send it on time. If it's a self-tape, make sure you get the self-tape it on time, making sure it's technically like well lit, or, you know, we can hear you. Things like that are, you know, just things that are going to help your performance.
Have you ever had like a super funny moment during casting that just kind of stuck in your brain?
You know, I feel like I've had a lot of super funny moments. You know, so we used to have a folder called Giggles, and it was literally like just dedicated to like any kind of funny moments that happened in the audition room. I think one of my funniest self-tapes is I had this woman. So, you know, with self-tapes, you're supposed to like, it's supposed to mimic the audition room, like a plain wall, just, you know, this woman like does it in her living room, and then she does her slate. She's like, hi, I'm gonna do this self-tape. And then her reader comes in, he's like, comes into the camera like, hey, I'm a reader, I'm gonna be reading with her. And then like in the middle of the audition, her grandson like walks into frame, like she's in mid scene, like asking for a snack, and she's like, baby, I'm doing my scene. Like, and so it was just a hilarious self-tape. So that's one of the funniest self-tapes I've gotten. But there's so many things like with actors do. I mean, we've had actors like email us M&Ms with their face on it, like you name it. We've had a lot of
billboards, you know.
Yeah, post billboards, exactly. So yeah.
No, I think that's really cute. Just kind of how life happens, and she sent it in how it was. So
I know, and we cast her. You know,
I was gonna ask, did she get the job?
She got the job. I think her episode aired like in March or something. But yeah, she got the job. So,
that is so exciting.
But I would not suggest that. I don't want actors to start putting up billboards everywhere. So no.
Yeah, that was a real thing. It was a real viral moment, but I believe it worked out for her though.
It did. It worked out for her after the second or third time of her actually doing this billboard. So yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. And you know, the easier way probably is to submit online, like the website says.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when in the midst of like, I feel like we're having a Black film renaissance. Like there is this need to cast people of color, to have more representation, to really move into the space, arguably, that, you know, we all should be able to turn on the television and see ourselves, right? Absolutely. Or be able to relate to a character, a character even that just transcends, you know, race. It doesn't matter that you're Black, it doesn't matter that you're Latinx or whatever, it's just a great role. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the importance of having representation? I mean, Tyler Perry owning the studios, you being there for over a decade, and you know, he's billionaire status now, and to be in that space around people around you, and you around other people that look like you, and get to work with people that you know, it's like your auntie, your mama, your cousin, your sister, your brother. How does that feel?
You know, I've always felt like I've been a little spoiled. And what I mean by that is, you know, I've been in Atlanta for 13 years, and I've been working at TPS the entire time that I've been here. And so like I live in a city that highlights Black culture a lot. And there's a lot of Black people here. And I work at a studio that is, you know, majority Black. So I feel like, and has told Black stories. So I've always felt like I'm a little spoiled, because I'm like, everything that I have done professionally, creatively, has been about about showing ourselves, showing our stories, giving us a chance, and not just on front of the camera. Like, you know, I've only worked with Black DPs and Black head writers and, you know, Black camera, whatever. And, you know, so I feel spoiled, but I do love that Hollywood is finally, it's incredibly sad that it's taken until really 2020 for people to wake up and say, well, why don't we have Black people on our board? Or why don't we have Black studio heads of, you know, large networks? Like, it's infuriating. It's like, why can't we have, why, you know, watching Black stories is just now kind of becoming a mainstream thing. And it's, I don't understand like why it's taking so long. I think if anything, I do love that like a Tyler Perry has inspired more Black creators. And I still feel like we have so much more to go though. Like, you know, we have so many more Black female directors and producers that we need to see, and more Black studios as well. So yeah.
Wow. With you know, being in the space of casting, what has been like your personal joy with casting someone that this is like their first big role, or, you know, for them it's like this is an absolute dream? How does that make you feel to know that you're helping people to walk in their purpose and you're walking in your purpose?
The best part of my job is telling actors that they booked the role. It's the best part. And I think the more unique part of my job is a lot of people that I am casting, this is their first something. So this is like their first big role, or this is their first series regular role, or this is their first something. So I feel honored that I get a chance to be a part of someone's first. And even like, you know, I have a friend that like, I remember like when he was like driving an old hoopty, you know, and like now he's booked a big role with us and like he's been able to get a new car or like pay off your student like loans. Like I understand it's not lost on me that my work is changing lives and is helping fulfill people's dreams. And so I feel like I take what I do very seriously. But I feel like I am, even just from a casting standpoint, just in a very unique position where we're not looking for like the star that's already established. Like we're looking to establish that star, you know? So it's a very exciting job, and I feel very honored to do it, for sure.
Oh, this is giving me all the feels. All the feels. Because I mean, I hear it. It's so sincere and so authentic that you know, have the opportunity to do this. Now, something that you brought up that a lot of people may know a little bit about, but not really the particulars. Does being a SAG actress increase the chances of landing the role?
That is a good question. So it depends on where you are. So like if you're in LA or in New York, most of the projects are SAG, which means that you cannot even be cast most of the time if you are not a member of SAG. So in those cases, absolutely. Georgia's a little different, being a right to work state where we can cast someone who's not a part of the union, but we still have to abide by the SAG guidelines. So we have to treat you as if you are a SAG actor. I would say, I think one of the biggest benefits of SAG is the support and the resources. There are, you know, like there are endless workshops that I've done with SAG. There's endless information. There's endless, you know, like there's endless information and support that you're not going to get unless you are a member of SAG. So I think that for actors, you know, of course, treat it very seriously. If you're in a state that is not right to work, but you're looking to book more things, or you want to go to LA or New York, it's something that you're going to need. You know, it's going to be something that's going to be really important to you as you continue to progress in your career. For sure.
Yeah, I was reading on the website and they were talking about, you know, like different caps on your salary. You get different things. And I was like, ooh, this for real. And
you know, even stuff like health insurance, you know, like you can get like once you've made a certain amount, like, okay, I can get health insurance from my acting. Like those are big things that you're not going to be able to get unless you're a member. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely some benefits there for sure.
Yeah.
In your opinion, does having an agent or a manager, does that increase the chances of being booked for gigs if you have someone that's your liaison?
Yes, absolutely. So, you know, for me, I do audition you if you don't have an agent. I have auditioned actors and always audition actors who don't have don't have representation. However, the thing about it is a lot of casting directors do not even release their roles to the public. So you're not, if you don't have representation, there's no way to audition because they've only released those roles to agents and managers. I'm one of the very few casting directors that will release my roles to actors directly. So I do feel like getting agency representation or a manager is going to be very, very, very important, especially on the, if you're more interested in doing like film and television, or if you're looking to like jump into film and TV, I think it's gonna be very helpful to get the proper representation. But I will say, of course, there's always the exception. We cast 2 women this year in series regular roles that had no representation. I was very rare, incredibly rare, but we did, you know, and we cast them without them having agents or managers.
So this had to be one of those moments where they put on a hell of a performance that was just, okay, I can't not pay attention to her.
Exactly. It's like and I always say, you know, they were ready and prepared when the opportunity presented itself. Like, there are 2 actresses that they didn't have an agent, but they could have easily had one, you know, like they were already series regular caliber actresses without representation, which is why when the role came up and when they submitted their audition, you know, the opportunity was there and they were able to take it.
That's awesome. I think, you know, a lot of times trying to navigate and figure out, how do I get representation? Whose name is good in the industry where they show up and people are excited to, you know, learn of the talent that they're representing. It's just so many nuances that kind of get in there when trying to figure it all out. But, you know, one of the things that people can do, of course, is kind of grab your coattail and learn, because you're doing these classes and you're teaching and you're out. You seem very just open to helping and sharing information, which a lot of times, you know, we, you know, feel like we don't know who we can kind of go to and talk to. So again, Rhavynn, like, thank you so much for taking the time to share with us. Now, you know, how can actors better support you as a casting director?
Be excellent. No, and I say that, like, you know, here's the thing: you are not going to be right for every role, and that's okay. You can still be an amazing actor and just not going to be right for every role that you're auditioning for. And I may be casting or auditioning you in one role today, but I may be auditioning you in a completely different capacity tomorrow. So you make us look good when you slay in the audition room. So I always say, like, to actors, like, you know, you giving your best performance, you making calculated risk, you know, like, yes, there's all these rules and do's and don'ts, but I'm like, sometimes at the end of the day, it's like, I just want you to be honest, you know? But really being honest and being vulnerable in the audition room, you know, treating it like a playroom. Some actors in auditions, it feels like, I can't wait to get this over with. And we're like, we can't wait to get it over with either. You know, so it's like, if you have the spirit and the energy of, like, yes, this is what I do, and audition is just another opportunity to act, you know, that helps us out too. Because if you're not enjoying yourself, we're bored too, you know? So making it an experience, treating us like you would an audience member, not someone who's there to judge you.
Wow. And, you know, I think that happens like with anybody. Like, you get those jitters, those butterflies in your stomach, and you can't quite shake them, and y'all looking at each other face to face, or, you know, like, we only got a little time together. So I definitely know that information is going to help somebody. Somebody gonna take that and kill their audition, which would be fantastic. Are there any trainings or resources that you recommend to actors that are looking to break into the industry? I know you had mentioned you've done some workshops with SAG, but what other resources would you suggest?
Yeah, there's so many. I think the beautiful thing, the silver lining of COVID is, unlike where you had to, people would fly out to LA or New York to get training, like it's all virtual now, so
Yeah.
if you wanted to take that LA class, like this is the time to do it. I think that there's a lot. I would highly suggest, like, if you can find somebody's workshop or somebody's virtual class, those things are going to be really helpful. I always say, and I was going to mention this earlier, like, have your actor tribe. Like, yes, I can give you information, but an actor who has an agent, they're getting this is their real life day-to-day experience. So I can tell you, like, yes, having an actor is important, but another actor is going to say, well, this is what my experience was with this agent. They did this, they submitted me for this, whatever it is. So develop your actor tribe, start doing that now. Practice, I think, like, there's so many ways to find sides and just to put yourself on tape and go for it. So those are all things that I would start doing now, in the midst of everything that we have going on in the world.
Oh, makes perfect sense. It's the age-old practice makes perfect. So
yes.
It's like, listen, you got to get out here and make it happen. I am just over the moon again that you took the time to talk to us. So for me, as a radio personality,
yes.
if there's a role and you looking for somebody to host or something, holla at your girl.
I got you.
No,
and I'll hold you to it too. So yes.
Girl, I will be out of here. Do you hear
Perfect.
me? Like, boom, showing up. Like, you. Oh, I'm a day early. That's cool. Just gonna wait outside the gate.
Perfect.
No, I'm sure people hit you up all the time and have a lot of questions and kind of pulling and tugging at you. But for those that are interested in working at the Tyler Perry Studios, tell us the website, and then how can we stay in contact with you and how can we follow you?
Yeah, so if you're interested in working, or if you're interested in even like auditioning with me, and maybe you don't have an agent, I post 98% of my auditions. I'm going to post them on a website called actorsaccess.com. So if you don't have representation, you can go ahead and submit your headshot and resume to actorsaccess.com. When we have a project that in a role that you may be right for, just to reach out to me. My website is rhavyndrummer.com, RHAVYNN. My Instagram is also my first name, RHAVYNN. And every Monday, I do something called Actor Minute Monday, which is just like a couple minute information where I'll take a question from actors. If you have any questions that you want to ask about the casting process or auditioning, I'll take a question, I'll answer it every Monday. So those are some of the resources that you can use to get to me.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much, Rhavynn. I appreciate you. A special thank you to Digital-PR, The Wave USA. You can follow them on social media at Digital-PR, at The Wave USA. I am Nori. This is Black and Forth, and we just got all up and behind the scenes with Rhavynn Drummer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.